for Thursday, February 22nd. Actually, I guess it's deemed a special meeting because we moved the date from Tuesday. So with that, before the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll stand and have a moment of silence for the tragedy at Liberty High School with Ryan Lance and for all the students involved.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
That brings us down to special recognitions and presentations, and our county assessor, Rocky Romano, is here.
Great. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for having me. And as Gary did point out earlier, it's kind of a moot point, but I still wanted to be here and tell you all about what's going on with the oil and gas situation. What it was is the new wells were tapped in 2021, which we do, the oil and gas is 2 years, that everything else is 1 year, it's 2 years. So 21 wells, it affected the 23 tax year. The actual tax value, the tax impact on our county was a total of $275,869. 222,000 plus of that was for producers, and then 50-some thousand of that was on the royalty owners. What happened here is it goes back to House Bill 2521 that passed in 2021. The legislators passed the bill to change the way that the department, or the state tax department, excuse me, I'm stuttering. State tax department, they do the assessment of the oil and gas. The assessor does not do that. We would have never found this if we looked for it. But what happened is they changed it. This law, it had to create a new legislative rule on the way that they assessed oil and gas. Well, they did this in a 90-day span. They should have been given a lot more time to do that. So it kind of got rushed and it didn't go well. Well, this year, when 23, the new wells, what the state did, they did not do the proper annualization. So when they had a legislative audit, they found that they were a lot of money out. There was a total of about $30 million. It only affected 8 counties, but like Tyler County, Marshall County, Doddridge County, they have all decided their county. What happened, the state tax department put out a letter to the county commissions of these 8 counties, tell them what happened. And the county commissions then had the responsibility of saying whether they wanted to reject or accept what the state tax department was sending them. Those 3 bigger counties so far have rejected. Harrison, Monongalia, and Pleasants County have accepted to go after this. And Wetzel has not had their meeting yet, and Brook is still undecided. So they're trying to decide where to go here. So what's going to happen here, these people that have already paid their 23 taxes for their oil and gas are going to end up getting another tax bill now. It's probably going to be, we're looking into whether it's going to be a supplement or a back tax. They won't be charged any interest on a back tax, but we got to figure out how to do it, get it back on the books. So we've got to do that. The school board is probably about 180-some thousand of that will go to the school board. The problem with it is too, $11 million of the assessed values is still tied up in Office of Tax Appeals with Arsenal. Arsenal has appealed, and they appealed to Office of Tax Appeals, which Office of Tax Appeals was also created by House Bill 2581. That bill wasn't getting anywhere on its own, so they threw it in that other bill and they got it passed. Office of Tax Appeals, normally historically they did income tax. Now they're doing ad valorem tax, and they're kind of learning on the go. So we don't know how long this is going to go. So Arsenal's already got their 23 in appeal, and I just got notice that they've also appealed their 2024 assessment to Office of Tax Appeals. So we don't know where that's going to go. So, but right now, we know who we got to get the tax tickets out. We will include the tax tickets to Arsenal, even though they're in, until we see where that goes. We still need to put the tax tickets out to them. So what we'll be doing is trying to get this, the extra collected here now in the next, it'll probably be by the time they get their 24 ticket, they're going to get another ticket for the extra that they owe for 23. It's not as bad here, you know, considering Tyler County was $15.8 million and we're 275,000 impact. So, and how they got away with not going there and how their Board of Education said, oh, it's okay, you don't have to go after this. I've never figured that out yet, but I don't know. And you know, there is a fear that once we send these people the tax tickets, that at what point does, you know, the state's claiming that they made a clerical error. But at what time, at what point is a defense attorney going to come in and say, you know, was this a clerical error? Was this just plain negligence on the state tax department's, you know, process? And that may be why some of these ones with the bigger money that they're backing off right now to see how that goes. I don't know. But basically, when we were in the meeting the other day talking about it, Gary had not, you know, heard of it. I really was hoping, well, you know, we couldn't have the meeting Tuesday, but it would have been before Wednesday. But our commission voted to go, you know, to accept this. And I think that's the way the school board would have wanted that. And let's face it, to be fair and equitable to everybody that pays taxes, they needed to go after this. Because you can't tell me, you, that they're being fair and equitable if they're not going after the extra tax dollars that these people really do owe. It's no different than we do our income tax and the IRS comes back and says, hey, you still owe more. We don't get out of that. So I think it's a comparison to that. Is there any questions?
I think that.
Yeah, like I say,
and we're glad that, you know, in this instance, we're not the ones that had to make that decision.
Yeah, exactly.
However, and I've always said, you know, we're 70% of the tax revenue comes to us.
Right.
Pretty much, but when it comes to things like this, TIF districts that affect us and things like that, we don't have a say in it. We're not the levying body, that's the county commission, so good or bad.
Exactly.
Good or
bad,
we don't have to make the decision, but at the same time, some other body makes the decision that affects our money a lot more than their money. But in this case, I'm more than happy that we weren't in the middle of it.
Yeah, and I'm glad that they made the decision that they did. I think it was the right decision. All right, thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and rush out if that's okay with everyone.
That brings us down to item 4, delegations. We have one delegation, Ryan Deems.
Okay. I'll try not to take all. I'm here tonight in 2 capacities. First capacity is as an individual and a member of the calendar committee and the CE council. I would like to address the calendar and implore the board to respect the work of the calendar committee and accept our recommendation of calendar A. Move this through quickly so that we can go through the process, get the calendar approved so that the CE council can start or continue our planning and get ready for the beginning of the school. My second hat I'm wearing tonight is as the president of the Harrison County Board, or Harrison County Board of or why did I write Board of Education? Sorry, Gary, I'm not trying to take your job. As the president of the Harrison County Education Association, it's been a long week. I would like to address teacher safety on our campuses. The tragic incident on Tuesday has left us all feeling an immense sadness. As I watch my friends and coworkers share how much they love Mr. Lance, I've been moved to tears countless times. We all must wonder what could have been done differently to avoid this situation. In the light of the sensitivity of this situation, we have not polled our members on their feelings. However, organic conversations have happened. At campuses across the county, teachers reported bad behavior by parent and student drivers alike. Whether it's distracted driving or ignoring traffic patterns designed for safety, there is a serious problem. I can share many firsthand experiences of almost being hit by parents who are watching their students walk into the school while I was in the crosswalk. I don't have all of the solutions, but we should investigate and experiment. Speed bumps, increased police presence, or more education of drivers are all options we should try. Teachers have a tough enough job as it is. We are asked to educate kids and protect them as if they were our own children. Will you step up to protect us? No one should have to fear walking across a parking lot to get to their job. Time is of the essence, and we will be watching. I expect swift and obvious action from the board on this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. Moves us down to superintendent's update.
Sure, I have a few things. I just wanted to update you. We have moved several presentations and things from tonight's meeting, and you'll be seeing those in the first two March meetings. We do have our middle of the year benchmark information available, and that will be the March 19th meeting. We'll share those presentations. So I believe there'll be some information before you leave that you can take home and look at before you get the presentations from Pam Knight and Julie Mancini. So the other thing is that we have recognitions that also were moved. So we're going to have those sometime in March. So we're working to get all those moved around. I know the grand families and all of that. So I believe that's on the 19th. Is that what we decided for grand families? Also, Mr. Lopez has an update today on facilities.
Yeah,
Transportation.
so I know it was very important for you, the board members, to add air conditioning to the high school gyms and those secondary gyms that don't have it. And there's a May 10th substantial completion date. Danny and I met with the folks yesterday, and I can tell you planning to get into a high school gym during this time of year is difficult because you have to kind of set aside some gym class time. Then you have spring sports getting ready to start. So we're going to work a lot during the spring break, and then some of the principals have been gracious to give us a little bit of latitude in getting that work completed. So the good thing is there should be a good opportunity to have some of the graduations inside. I know that Robert C. Byrd has expressed that interest. Bridgeport, I know, goes outside. South Harrison will not be ready, and the reason for it is the switch gear that was ordered is still not going to be in stock, and it won't be until next year. And some of that, when you have to do major electrical upgrades, that's when you get into delays, and that's where we were. We were like that with the Gore project when we built Victory. Same way with some of the Lincoln electrical upgrades. It looks like they still can be on time. And then you can see there's under one of the consent items, there is some controls for Horanic. And that's been consistent with the controls in getting those, because you really need to be able to get in there and evaluate to make sure there's enough electric. And then the controls are just like a big thermostat that go in, and they're able to control all those spaces, whether it's occupied, unoccupied, to control humidity. And a lot of that is put in place after the units have been ordered and to match what we have, the type of controls, the existing controls that we already have in our building, to get those to mesh. So that's the reason why that's on there. As a matter of fact, Johnson was the same way when we built Johnson. Those controls were outside of that contract. So
The switch gear for South Harrison was ordered 5-6 months ago.
oh yeah, it was ordered right after the time that we bid that out. And
So we're looking at several months out.
oh yeah, when we did Victory, it was over a year before we were able to get it. So, I don't understand with the HVAC stuff. Sometimes we have new equipment and they go down, and you have a building and you have people that are upset, but you can't get that you just can't get the part. They have to make it, and it's unfortunate. Back in the old days, you needed a part, they sent it to you. Train seems to be the company right now that we're having trouble with. And it's unfortunate because I called Danny, we talked to our HVAC guys. I mean, I'm ready to call the company and we exhaust everything and it's a matter of them getting the part produced. And it's frustrating for us as much as it is anyone in the school. So I think that kind of covers, unless you all have any questions.
The batting cage movement on that over RCV.
Well, I think we're waiting on, Whitney might be able to talk to us about some of the stuff that Danny's trying to get ordered.
The materials and supplies were quite pricey, and the local store could not give us co-operative pricing, so we had to go out to the national co-op, which you got that quote.
So I mean, I know.
Same exact pricing.
Right, yeah.
Exactly to the exact food store, but to get the cooperative contract numbers.
Yeah, I'm okay, that's fine, I'm glad we did that, but I'm just worried about the time frame. I mean, I know it's gonna be delayed for baseball starts next week and the week after for training. Is it gonna be available to use at all during the season?
The concrete poured.
Yeah, everything's poured. Danny has a lot of the stuff has already been completed because they did a lot of it inside his building. Kind of waiting on some of the wood that needed to be ordered to put the trusses up.
Yeah.
I think it's the
That kind
trust.
Yeah, that was what it was last time. I just didn't know if there had been any movement on that.
And actually, shout out to RDR, because they
Oh,
have
absolutely.
provided all concrete.
Yeah, there's been a lot of people who have helped out with this. And I appreciate that. It would be nice to just have the boys be able to use it before they leave. And a lot of the seniors this year, we're hoping that we'd be ready for them.
Danny's he's
Oh, I know.
postured forward to
I know,
get it
I
done.
know.
And
I think they're doing a great job. I just, if there's anything we can do to maybe assist or push or help out in any way.
Got to get the
whatsoever.
materials.
Mhm.
Get the materials, we'll get on.
Danny said the trusses ended up being much larger, and now another special order type item. Nothing was standard on it.
Right.
Just go by.
And I think that thing changed so many people involved that, let's get it a little bit larger here, let's add this, let's add
Really
that.
nice.
Sure.
In which, it's going to be very nice, it's just that kind of complicated a little bit.
And I guess along those lines, if you remember, and I've spoken before, when it comes budget time, if we could look and try to look at the resurfacing of the tennis courts.
Yeah.
Budget time. Is it on the facility request?
I don't know, I have to look at the details.
Yeah, well, it's my facility.
That was,
I think there was something on the tennis courts, wasn't there?
that was something actually that Liberty, when Robert Hare was the assistant, had talked to us about and had worked with RCB because they have regional tennis and they use that facility. And they were willing to help put some of their monies together to get that resurfaced. So last year, the timeline wasn't there, but this year it could be.
And who was the guy that came out with the roller and rolled the outfield for Bird's Field? No,
Not
I
sure.
know that, because I think that was pretty nice as well. The outfield, well, because of some of the water issues we have out there, it creates a little wavy and bumpy ground. So I think Eric had gotten somebody and worked with a couple people to bring somebody out and kind of roll it flat, make it flatten out a little bit. So I think that's nice.
The other thing on the superintendent's update is the January 24 financial report.
Actions are, just have the cash balance, which is also required, and then see a couple of rotations there. And then, we're pretty much on target for our revenues coming in and our expenditures. If you look at the front summary page, it has the, January month, compared to the year-to-date revenues, and then also it has the estimates, right? You don't have the prior year information. This is the report I was referring to, Mr. Devon, that we could put on the website because it also has the budget. It's a summary on the front, and then each fund is detailed by categories on the other pages. If you notice, don't get alarmed when the special revenue fund, it shows that we're down by $4.4 million in revenue. for the current year to date compared to the prior year. But, that can be explained in that there was a lot of revenue for 22 that was not even requested until late 23. So that's what's overstating 23's revenue. And that's easily seen when you look at the revenue year to date, where the prior year was 14.9, and you look down at expenses, it was 8.7. You can only request federal revenue after you've expended.
And this is in what? I don't see it.
It's under superintendent.
Superintendent, yeah.
It's under executive.
Oh, okay, I'm under consent item, sorry. Okay, there we go. I'm thinking, what is she? Something looking at. Mm. Yeah, as long as we can get something out there that shows, what we're looking at from a budgetary standpoint, yeah, that would be good. I think that would be nice.
There's about 3 different ways I can download this from the state site. So I'll be able to spell areas. Which one.
Oh, the other piece I want to just say, Mr. Deans and others here, the pro officers, there was a conversation yesterday about having them out more, looking at the traffic patterns and using them more for that. We don't want to take them too much out of the front of the building for those kids entering, but we also will be looking at traffic patterns. And I know Mr. Snyder talked with the head of the pro officers yesterday about that. So it is fresh on our minds, and I know we can always look and do more in the areas that you suggested. So I appreciate that. But there is some preliminary work being done on that. And then Mr. Hogue has a United Technical Center report. We met on Valentine's Day.
Yep. Our career center was one of 6 in the entire state to be asked to fill out the forms to be recognized and maybe as one of the exemplary schools for career centers. There are 6 of them chosen, and they're filling out all the paperwork and submitting it. One of them will be chosen, and they're very excited about that, and it'd be nice if, they could get that award. And second thing is that they was talking about that the enrollment is holding pretty steady at right around 400 students. And so they're pleased with that. They're going to move to totally online application process. They used to, kids filled them out, turned them in, interviewed, stuff like that. Now it's going to be totally an online application form. It'll kind of speed things up there. They get that done so they get their classes set. And their audit went very well. I think there was maybe one citing. Whitney, was there just one citing in regard to a mistake that was made by the former treasurer or secretary down there, and it's been corrected. And
I got a quick question about that. For the years that I was on the Tech Center board, the finding was always segregation of duties. Have they fixed that? Or is it still a finding?
Actually, we've addressed that with the hiring of the person, they segregated some more.
Okay.
And we actually have a policy whereby the expenditures are reviewed here by 2 different people before the checks are written.
Yeah, that was on that.
and
I'm looking at them just.
one last thing was that they discovered that they have a problem down there with their fire hydrants. The fire hydrants haven't been probably open for 30 years. There's 4 that run down along the side where the road is, and they also connect into our maintenance and into Victory, and they don't know how they're going to get it corrected, they don't know, really want to open them because they haven't been open for so long. The only one that they know of right now that's really working is the one back by the, they call it the burn pile, out behind the backside of, there. They can operate it whenever they burn stuff. The fire department will come out and it hoses it all down, takes it all under control. But they're looking into how they can test these and see if they are working. If they're not working and they have to be replaced, they're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars to go in there and have to replace all
That's
that.
not
It's not
on
on
the
us.
school.
That's not on us.
We had that
That'd be
Conversation was
There's
had,
a PSD in that area that is
Yeah.
no
Sun
longer
Valley.
there, that,
It might be short line.
Well, Sun Valley just took over Short Line.
Okay,
Short
gotcha.
Line to Sun Valley runs.
so
Okay,
we
gotcha.
were trying to determine whether it's Clarksburg Water or
Or-
who the PSD will
Clarksburg
be.
Water through Short Line, but Short
Yeah.
Line's run by,
But we did determine it would not be his responsibility.
No.
We just have to figure out.
I know
who's gonna
she was
do
gonna
it.
check into it.
Yeah.
but I would say now that they have a problem, they better do it fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Because they've identified the problem, it needs to be.
But they had
One
went
way
to
or another.
Mr. Call and asked him to.
Yeah,
I can reach out to
Yeah.
the PSD and talk to them about that.
Yeah,
If
he
you-
was
if you
just
want me
going to
to.
budget it and pay for it.
It's our building,
It's our, it's their fire hydrants, their equipment, their
but
water.
really
If we open up
they should have,
and they break,
Dormant.
should have contacted you anyway, because it is our building.
probably
They said
should.
it's a dormant line through there, so nobody's
Oh.
claiming it now.
Oh,
But the
sure.
one on the end works because the fire department trains there.
Okay.
So, yeah. So,
I can contact, if you want me
Yeah,
to, I
find
can
out.
contact.
It should be
them.
us contacting,
Yeah.
not him, because it's our building.
We just want to make sure nobody opens those on our end, because if something ruptures, that's going to be on us.
Right, right. And like I say, Mr. Call wasn't real sure whose it was. And he was going to check into what it was going to cost to maybe replace them and everything. And he was going to try and add that into his budget down there to fix them. But then it was brought up to him by Whitney and all that we were not probably responsible for it. That would be on the PSDs. So that's where it was kind of left at into the meeting. I'm sure we'll get an update next meeting on
let me follow up with the exemplary school. United Technical Center was one of 6. That was an old thing that the Department of Ed used to do, and they would invite schools to apply to the exemplary school. They would choose, and it's based on a host of different criteria. And Bridgeport High School is also on that list. And Renee Matthews and the staff there worked to put together the application, and I just signed off on that, and we have submitted to Bridgeport High as well. So, and we'll do the same for United Technical Center. And I believe those announcements will be made fairly soon. I'm thinking April, maybe
it. I was
the
gonna say,
end of March and April, so, but they were invited as well. But it's something, I remember years ago, the exemplary school status, that you have to be invited to apply. So, we were.
I taught one of them exemplary schools. Or the-
That's why it was exemplary.
That's right.
So that's all we have. That's all.
And this is down to consent items, so we'll take A and B together, meeting minutes, financial transactions, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve consent items.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item C, Duranic change order, number 1, HVAC controls, Bridgeport High, Robert C. Byrd High, Bridgeport Middle School HVAC and lighting. And it's, even though it is a change order, it's not technically a change order, meaning we knew it was coming. It's
Right.
on the original contract, but it's listed as a change order, but it's not that generally change orders are that they're misread, but we knew we were going to have to do this after the fact, so. Is there a motion? Is there a motion to accept item C?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded, any discussion?
Yes. May I ask
Yeah.
Mr. Lopez a question? Mr. Lopez, could you give us an idea about the $304,000 contract change or the change order with that?
Just the overview on what these are.
Yeah, just-
I think when we had the conversation, I think you heard.
Yeah, and so I'll give you an example, like for Robert C. Byrd. Are you talking about the same change order here?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So Robert C. Byrd had an existing unit, rooftop unit, that all the controls were running through. It was taking up space, but it doesn't operate. So we have to remove that. That wasn't discovered until afterwards. So that was one of the pieces. That has to be moved and then for those controls to be rerouted. Carbon monoxide testers have to be added to all these units, and that is new through the state. We didn't even have carbon monoxide detectors in our schools until probably 2 years ago. They started writing that up as some of our state building inspections. Demo, of course, some of the old controls are being completely replaced. But the big thing is the integration of those controls so that our technicians can control the temperatures from a satellite place. So they can get on the computer and look at those temperatures, carbon monoxide, all different air quality things that are important, so we can monitor those.
And it also lets them know if it's a weekend or something, something's going haywire.
That's correct. So we get alerts and emails. And like I said, we don't think about this a lot right now, but when we have the summer heat, especially in August, we go through major periods of humidity. And the way you control that a lot of times is by running your controls either occupied or unoccupied. Occupied is when you have people in the building. And when you have people in the building, you have a problem with mold because, it kind of takes care of itself. But when it's unoccupied, what happens is if you're running as occupied, the temperatures spike. So it gets cold real fast, and then the unit shuts off. So it doesn't run long enough to pull the humidity out of it. So those are just a lot of the features that are put in with those controls to upgrade those and to make the new equipment run, because those had to be specially added to, and then the integration so it's working with the existing controls. So,
Thank you.
okay.
Anything further? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. New business, open enrollment, transfers, approvals, and denials. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Personnel, will take item A, personnel matters.
Make a motion to approve personnel matters as presented.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item B.
I make a motion that Mr. Hamrick move forward negotiating superintendent's contract with Mrs. Butler as discussed earlier in our executive session.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Item, nothing under legal and disciplinary. Board member comments. Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, folks, that continue to come or to watch, as I always say, and feel we had 2 productive meetings.
I'm good.
I'm good. I'm good.
Yeah, I've got a little bit of heartburn with something the legislature did last week, or this past couple days. And I think it's completely irresponsible, and they haven't defined it well enough. And I think we need to pay attention to what they want to do with allowing firearms and weapons in the classrooms. I don't agree with it. I think it's wrong that, just because you put something there and you give people access to it, it means it's going to be better and it's going to make something go away and reduce threats. So please keep us updated with what you can find out about that. And what I'd specifically like to know is, in that bill, if it does pass, are there any types of clauses or any types of rules that allow us as a local board to impose policies to do something about that as well? to make it difficult or more difficult.
More than likely it won't. I mean, if they do it, it'll be blanket and,
Sure.
you know, we'll, unfortunately.
It's just wrong. It's just wrong. And, you know, Mr. Nemrick, you made a point the other day, or earlier today, you know, they won't allow teachers to choose textbooks in their classrooms, but they will allow them to carry guns in schools, firearms. Deadly firearms is how the bill described it. So it's
I
just
think
unacceptable.
Further, they're going to, you know, jail librarians for the books that they.
Right, it's unacceptable, unacceptable.
Okay.
That's all I have to say.
I have nothing further. So with that, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second. Move second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. You guys want to discuss adjournment?
Hey Frank, that bill was amended yesterday from may to shall.